leopards in the rainy morning. It's the royal cubs making their royal appearance for the last episode. This is Safari Live.
Avshen, or good morning, as they say in English. My name is James Henry, and it is my pleasure to welcome you, the most important part of our live safaris, to this, the 8th and final of our wilderness journey together. We're coming to you live from Africa. We're off to the east 100 miles or so in the Indian Ocean. A cyclone built up during the week. It stretched an arm up over the Lowveld and it blessed us with 4 inches of rain. It turned the yellowing grass to verdant green once more. It is a wonderful 73 degrees Fahrenheit. As always, I will be talking to you from my little tent over here and its environs, but that's not nearly as important as how you are going to be talking to me. Hashtag Safari Live is how you do that, and the first thing I'd like you to do is tell me in no more than 2 words what Africa means to you. So that's hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. Now, I know it's President's Day tomorrow in the United States, so if you would be so kind as to stay up, you don't have to go to work tomorrow, stay up and enjoy all 2 hours of the safari with us. Let us locate ourselves now on planet Earth. There we are, in the northeast corner of the world's most beautiful country, South Africa, if you happen to be a South African, the 8.5 million acre wilderness that is the Kruger National Park. Now, last week we spent a wonderful time with Thandiwe Mwetwa, a Zambian lion biologist associated with the Big Cat Initiative of NatGeo, and she is at the coalface of conservation, and we had a wonderful time with her. And if you want to find out more about her, what you can do, of course, is go to natgeo.org, I think that's NatGeoWild.org, /big cats. We also, of course, met a very special little leopard cub with enormous ears, and this week you're going to have the opportunity to name that special animal. For now, let us head out into the Scotch mist-filled misty morning with Stefan Winterboer.
Good morning, and it is a misty morning this morning, and welcome to the bushwalk. My name's Stefan Winterboer, and we are walking around in exactly the same place that Brent and Jamie are, here in the middle of the 8.5 million acre Kruger National Park. We are literally hot on the trail of some lion at the moment. It's a pride of lion. Females, babies. The mothers are going to be very protective of their young. But generally speaking, this is how we find these cats. We track them on foot. They don't always walk on the road. They walk through these blocks hunting for things like buffalo and giraffe and wildebeest and zebra. And literally they are just here somewhere in one of these thickets is a lion pride. I have this feeling, this gut feel that we're going to be hearing a roar or a growl or seeing some rushing bodies through the bush now. A couple of minutes from now. They're just here somewhere. And it means that you've basically got to keep your eyes up, looking very, very carefully here. You don't want to be surprised by a lion that's sleeping underneath a bush just in front of you. So always a good idea. Walk softly, walk slowly, and just scan underneath everything here. Right, it's getting a bit thick in front of us. We're going to need to keep our eyes nice and forward. We'll keep you updated. Don't go anywhere. You're off to Brent's and those 2 playing cats.
Games are afoot. Young Hosana is stalking his sister, who's lying in the grass. And we are live from South Africa. Oh, he stood on a thorn. Now you can see there's 2 leopards there. And they are going to hopefully be really playful on this cool, misty, rainy morning. My name is Brent Leo Smith. I have my very good friend who's got a cool cat thumb for today. He's wearing sunglasses even though there's not a bit of sun in sight. Together, Brent and Brian, my incredible cameraman, are known as the Killer Bees. And we have wonderful little leopard cubs. And what are they up to now? Now, we are right in the bottom of a river system where there is a slightly bad signal, and with the rain this morning it might cause a little bit of havoc, so there might be some pixelation, but it's worth it to see these incredible cats living wild and free. Oh, it's games time. The This cool weather brings out the best in the little cats. Look how little Hosana is crouching. He's balling his muscles, getting ready to pounce towards his sister. Now, Mom's not here. She's out hunting. It's been really great hunting weather for her last night. Some wind, some rain, some dark skies. So at any moment, she might arrive and lead them off to a kill. Isn't this exciting? Oh, here he comes. Straight towards us. Oh, the tables are turned. Xongile is now on the prowl, looking through the little thicket. Look how she's balling her muscles. She's getting ready. There. Oh, she's got him. You can see the massive size difference between them. They're exactly the same age. They're from the same litter. Oh, tables are turned again. Whoever turns their back is the victim. Look, there we go. He's getting ready to pounce. Boom! Oh, wonderful. Now, all this jumping and chasing and cavorting about is really, really important. It's how they hone their hunting skills. So those hunting skills are instinctive, but this is how they hone them, by playing with each other. Now, if anyone wants to ask a question on these incredible cats, remember, #SafariLive on Twitter is the best way to get hold of us. The only way to get hold of us. I would love to hear from you. It is wonderful getting to interact and teach you a little bit about our home that we're so passionate about. Now they've just gone. Oh, they're coming back through. Tumble. Now we're getting to see these two cubs together, and Chelsea is wondering how long will they stay together. Chelsea, not for too much longer. Sort of in the next 3 or 4 months they're going to split. Normally little females will become independent of their mother at around 16 to 18 months. And so they're just over 12 months, sometimes a bit younger. And the males will stay a little bit longer. They are mostly solitary, so it is always incredibly special to spend time with leopards. And normally you only see one of them, so seeing two is always better. Now, of course, leopards have been the stars of the Safari Live series, but they're not the only big cat out here. So I know Jamie is hot on the tracks of the Nkuhuma Pride of Lions, so let's go see where she's searching.
Hello and welcome to this, our finalist installment, and what promises to be an incredibly exciting finale to our 8-week series. Now, my name is Jamie, and this morning VM is on camera with me, and we have joined forces with Steph and the walking team to see if we can track down a pride of lions that we were sitting with yesterday afternoon. And I'm so excited. This is my absolute favorite feeling out here in the African bush, knowing that you're on fresh tracks. The animals are just in here somewhere, and we've been circling around to make sure that we don't miss them as they start to walk around. And this is perfect weather. Not so much for us. We've got a roof on to make sure that we are protected from the damp, but for big cats this is perfect hunting weather. And the lions that we're tracking have 6 cubs with them, 6 hungry growing cubs, which means they're going to be on the search for breakfast. And now we just have to try and figure out where they're going to be searching for breakfast. It really is an incredible feeling, the build-up of anticipation when you're tracking something like a big cat, and I'm sure Steph has touched on that as well. And don't forget, on our live safari, send through your questions, #SafariLive on Twitter. Let's see if we can catch up with the fantastic Nkuhuma Pride, or the incredible Nkuhumas, as we like to call them. They are here somewhere, and I'm sure they're moving as well. They might have sheltered, bunkered down a little bit as it started to drizzle, but it's stopped now, and that could well mean that they're going to pop out at any moment. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to concentrate on searching for these lions. While we do that, Let's jump back into the tent with James and have a look at something close up.
I have something small for you to look at, something not quite as terrifying as a lion. Well, it might be to some of you. Take a look here. Now, what I would like you to do is tell me what you think that is, #SafariLive. And while you're looking at it, I'll tell you that we've had some interesting tweets about Africa in 2 words. Zoe, your tweet was Trump-free. Thank you for that, Zoe. Abigail, at 13 years old, you say pretty extraordinary. It is, isn't it? Bonnie, you say wild freedom. I love that one. Khalid, you say love and beauty. Absolutely, perhaps you could add peace there. Noel, you said beautiful paradise. And Lucy, yes, great stuff. You said real life. And I think it is very much real life out here. It is raw and real and sometimes quite savage. Right, so you've seen that thing there. Tell me what it is, #SafariLive. Now, I mentioned at the very beginning that we'd had a cyclone off to the eastern coast of where we are now, 100 miles away during the course of the week. Take a look at its effects. Wednesday dawned with expectation as a tropical cyclone built in the Indian Ocean about 100 miles to our east. The animals looked to the sky as patchy clouds billowed to saturated thunderheads split by rainbows. The thirsty yellow grass, desiccated by weeks of summer sun, looked up in hope as the gunmetal arms of the cyclone slammed into us. The gratefully received but driving rain sent the animals temporarily scuttling away for cover. Eventually, as the storm raged into its second day, the characters of Safari Live were forced to come out and eat. Now, prey are vulnerable during a deluge because the wind and rain make it difficult for them to smell, hear, and see the predators. Unless you're a frog or a fish, the storm makes life very uncomfortable, and after a while, there's simply nowhere dry left to shelter. So that's what happened during the week. Let us now go to the air and take a look at what it looks like live. Now, I don't know if you remember having a look at this very picture last week, but that dam was completely dry. There was no water in it whatsoever, and all around that grass that you're looking at now, we looked at some impala there. All around there, it was yellow, and we'd had 3 or 4 weeks of hot, driving African summer sun, and just 4 inches of rain, in fact 3, in some places here, has turned everything green again, and the animals are going to be so grateful for it. There will be buffalo coming down to swim there at some stage. The elephants, when the sun comes out too, will come and roll in the mud, and it's just a wonderful time. It's such a blessing, always, to have rain here in Africa. Now, no, we're not. Okay, good. Let's have one last look at what's going on under the microscope there. There you are. That is a cricket. Oh dear, I've just told you what it is. That's hopeless. Oh well, I'm sure some of you would have guessed already. Sorry about that. Let's head back down now to the Scotch mist-covered leopards.
Look at this. Look how flat she is to the ground. She's still stalking her brother. Oh, here we go. Oh, they're so fast. Now, look at this. They are full of the joy of the morning out here in South Africa. Sometimes the wet, rainy weather brings such blessings, because if it was hot and sunny, these cats would probably be snoozing, but because it's not, they're up, about, jumping and playing. It is very, very wonderful. Where'd they go? Oh, the stalk is on again. One to the left, one to the right. You can see how well that camouflage works, even in the bright emerald green of the wet season. You can just see an ear. Now, Lance is wondering which sex of the leopards is the better hunter. Well, Lance, it depends what they're hunting. I would say they're equally as good hunters. The males are obviously capable of taking down much bigger prey because they are so much bigger. Oh, she's popped out. Trot. She can't see her brother. I can't see her brother. Where's he gone? Oh, she spotted him. She's running away from him. He's lying in ambush somewhere behind that bush. Oh, she's going to turn the tables and stalk back. Now you can see why this play is so important. You can see how they're actually honing their hunting skills, getting inches away from the ground, practicing camouflaging themselves from each other. Oh, she looks like she's about to go. Look how flat, there he is. Look how flat she's getting. She's now flat to the ground. Now, if you were a bull antelope, how difficult is it? Look how there's the leopard crawl. Now, that's where the leopard crawl comes from. Look how she's inching forward. There she goes. Oh, man, this is magic. While they are together and not pouncing on each other, we've got our... Whoa, one more jump. Tackle. And while we sit here and wait for them to continue playing, let's go see how the search for lions is going on foot.
The search for these lions is intense at the moment. They're somewhere in this grass. We just don't know where. And it's building up this pressure, this tension in me. I tell you, it's quite exciting. It's enervating. So I've come onto this termite mound to give us a bit of elevation. And I'm whispering because we really can't speak too loud in case we disturb these animals. Now, just as a reminder, we are coming to you live. This is happening right now, out of the middle of one of the largest wilderness areas in the world. And from time to time, we're going to get a bush or a tree between us and where our signal goes to. And it breaks up the picture a little bit. Don't go anywhere. It fixes itself very quickly. All right, come up here. Let's see what we can see. Now, lions, they like to lie down in areas where they don't get too wet on a rainy day like today. So they're not going to be lying in tall grass. They're going to be lying on patches of sand, like this. And over there, as you can see. So I'm expecting to find these lions lying somewhere similar. But I tell you, the visibility is only about 20 yards or so. In some cases, much less than that. And I'm expecting this tawny body weighing 300 or 400 pounds to burst out of the grass, all teeth and gums and snarly face. So I'm being careful. Now, we've been looking on both sides of a little gully that's coming down here. And quite often, lions will hunt gullies. Buffalo like to lie up in gullies. Giraffe like to lie up in gullies. Kudu and nyala, all the favorite food of lions. And then, of course, the adjacent plain is where you find zebra and wildebeest. And the bushes along the side of these open areas give the lions some cover to hunt from. They're not too far away. I don't know, after all these years you get these gut feels about stuff. I've been wrong many times, of course. But they are here somewhere. Right, I can see another prominent termite mound in the distance, and I think I'm going to be heading to that. All right, you're going to go away for a quick break. Don't go anywhere. You never know when these lions are going to pop up again. So we've got a prominent termite mound on top of that tree that you can see down there. You might have to come this way a little bit. Right on top of that tree there. And I think there's another game path that goes past there. We're going to head that way and see if we can find these lions lying here somewhere. Now, their tracks actually come to... Okay. I just heard something in the grass here. Come with me. Sometimes mothers will play with cubs and it makes a specific noise, and that's the noise that I just heard now. It was a mother's frustrated growl at a cub that was getting a bit too boisterous. Quite often though, these things tend to be my imagination. As you can imagine, as the minutes stretch on, so the tension stretches on. And from time to time, you start hearing things. That was a heart attack bird that just jumped out over there. These little things that start to get you all jumpy. What I'm doing now is just checking underneath the leaf cover here to give us a bit of a better view through the foliage. Because at this height, I'm just looking into a wall of green. Okay, I'm fairly certain what I just heard was the flaps of a spotted thick-knee bird. They're fairly common around here. And when they take off, it's a big flurry of wings because they're quite large birds. And not the growl of a mother lion. Okay, here's another open patch. They're not lying over here. Let's go this way. Come through, come through. Right, we've got some sand going on over here. It's exactly what we want to see. We're going to need to give some attention to this bush over here. Why don't we go to James and he'll see you a bit later.
It's very cold here, everybody. The mist is rolling in. I thought I saw some sun on the eastern horizon to start with, but not at the moment. It's all just kind of really rather Scottish, which is what I am, of course. Now we have 40 seconds to go to television. I will reveal my tent quiz for those who didn't hear me reveal it by mistake earlier on. 30 seconds to go. I also would like to show you that Simon has new eyes. Do you see them? Yes. A bit poppy arty, I suppose. Raise my hat. Sorry, Dave. I do apologize. 10 seconds to go, everybody. Welcome back everybody to the finale of our African wilderness adventure together. My name is James Hendry and you are the most important part of what we do out here. #Safari Live is how you get hold of us. We've had Brent with leopards and with any luck soon we will have Steph on foot with the great Nkuhuma pride. In the meantime, the answers to my tent quiz. Have a look at what it was and then I shall show it to you. Candy, you said it's a grasshopper. Well, almost. Tina, you also said it's a grasshopper. And Neen R, well, you're obviously a very fine naturalist. You said it was another kind of orthopterid. Yes, that's what they called. You said it was a cricket. It is a cricket, but it is a terrifying cricket. Look at it. It looks like a spider, and apparently it is a kind of cave cricket, and look at the length of its quite astounding antenna. I really think that's rather impressive. Anyway, this one is no longer with us. It has shaken off this mortal coil, popped its clogs, as it were, and is now in cricket heaven, and so we're going to return it to the earth, where it might form part of the nutrient cycle. Goodbye. That was our cricket. Now we've seen Xongile and Hosana this morning. Let's see what they got up to during the week. Hosana is spending increasing amounts of time away from his mother and sister. Life in the wilderness continues to be perilous for the young prince, But along with the development of his unusually stocky physique has come the knowledge of how to interpret and then avoid danger. The week began hot and sultry, and lying by the pool or pond is everyone's favourite way to escape the heat of the midday. But some swimmers are not sharers, which the little leopard discovered to his panting disappointment. Now, after being bullied by the perilous wilderness, Xongile and Karula remain a welcome source of comfort for young Hosana, who is now almost twice the mass of his elegant young sister and at least as tall as his regal, skillful mother. So that's what they got up to during the course of the week. And I think without further ado, before the mist sets in too heavily, let's head straight back to Xongile, Hosana and the highly irascible Brett Leo Smith.
Now Hosana is right next to us. He's trying to creep around to where his sister is hiding. He doesn't seem as stealthy as his sister, but what an incredible week we've had with these lovely cubs, and they are constant entertainment. This morning, jumping up and down, chasing each other. They are wonderful. Oh, there we go. Talk about jumping up and down, chasing each other. Now, you've seen how dangerous life can be. Now, you saw young Hosana avoiding a spotted hyena, which is, of course,
We've got some monkeys alarm calling outside the tent. Everybody, come with me quickly. They're over there, and I'm sorry we had to come suddenly back to us. Brent is very far to the south, and I think this thick Scotch mist is playing havoc with his signal. Just over there are some monkeys alarm calling, and if we swing around to the right-hand side over here, whoops-a-daisies, I'll try not to strangle myself quietly on these, well, not so quietly, on my guy ropes. Jamie is driving around over there, looking for the lions. Steph is walking around in that region there, and I wonder if those monkeys haven't found what we're looking for. Now, come over here. We can have a quick look at the map. I'll quickly point out where everyone is. And I'm keeping an eye out, of course, because those lions could easily come wandering straight past the tent here, and that would be the greatest tent segment of all 10 segments ever done in all live safaris. We haven't had a lion at the tent yet. We've had elephants and buffalo, but no lions yet. So here we are. Over here, we're lurking around, just about over there. That's where the tent is. Ah, wonderful. There are all the guy ropes, about 750,000 of them. Now, Jamie was driving along over here when you first met her. There's another little road track in there. And I think she was looking down south, because I think that's where the tracks were headed. The lions, we think, came across the dam wall here yesterday evening. And they walked up in here, and then we lost their tracks. There was a bit of rain. They went into a block, which means it becomes very difficult to follow. The trackers are in here as well, and Steph is kind of in the middle of all of this, looking to see if he can't find them. There he is there. He's got big muscles, and that's because he needs them if he is, of course, tracking lions. Now, Joe, you ask a very good question. What would Steph do were he to come across here the lions? Now, you can see a lion is very big in comparison with Steph, so it would be very scary indeed. Now, what you have to do, Joe, is basically stand still. The initial reaction, of course, from both lion and human being looks something like this. And then you wait and you stop, and you look and you see what they're going to do. If they move towards you, of course, the temptation is to move back, but you have to hold yourself in position. You stand very still indeed, and then when the lion stops, you can take a few steps back, and if the lion comes forward, you stop again, and then you can move slowly back. And normally, that's absolutely fine. Normally, the lions will back off. Remember, we are the apex predators out here, which means that the animals here are afraid of us. No animal out here is inherently dangerous. There's potential danger all over the place, but because Steph is so experienced and he knows exactly what's going on out there, he's in no danger. Well, if he's careful this morning, we hope. Let's head straight back across to Jamie and find out how her search for the lions is progressing.
We're still searching for those lions, and I've sped up because I've just heard a report that there are monkeys alarm calling around the open area that our camp is right next to. Our monkeys are very, very sharp-eyed, and what I mean by alarm calls is essentially if they see a leopard or lion or something similar, then they start to make a sort of a noise that I would attempt to imitate, but I sound a little bit like Donald Duck. But I will try. Of course, they might be alarm calling if they knew about NatGeo Wild's Big Cat Week, which will be starting on Monday the 20th. I hope you're all incredibly excited. It looks as though they have some truly amazing shows lined up for you all. What a way to begin the start of Big Cat Week than the search for the big cats. And hopefully these monkeys are going to prove... hold on one moment. What's up? It's not just monkeys that alarm call, and I'm going to have to try and show you this bird, which is a bit of a struggle with this roof. But there is a bird called a go-away bird. Can we see it up there? No. So the reason we are sitting with the roof on is the fact that it has been pouring with rain. There goes the bird. It's been pouring with rain this morning. It seems to have abated for now. Now, I need to race across to see what's happening with those monkeys. For now, let's go back to Brent and those lovely leopard cubs.
Oh, look at that! Boom! Takedown. What a wonderful, wonderful morning. We do apologize for disappearing earlier. As we said, we're right in the base of a river system where the signal can be a little bit iffy. But we got to remember, we are live with African wildlife in South Africa in the 8.5 million acre Greater Kruger National Park. And this is just the best thing in the world, being able to sit mere feet from big cats. Now, these big cats are being very, very playful this morning. Now, firstly, we saw in that little catch-up clip about Hosana avoiding hyenas. Now, he's quite young, but I've got a face-off question for you, and it's a very specific one, because lots of different things might play out. So, who would win the battle? A big, adult, male leopard versus a single, adult, female hyena. Who do you think would win the battle in face-off? Big male leopard, single female hyena. #Safari Live on Twitter. Let me know which one you think is going to win. Adult male leopard weighing in at 200 pounds versus female hyena weighing in at also about 200 pounds. So, what do you think? I'd love to hear. Where are you lot off to now? All the stalks on again. And waiting to see where his sister goes. So are we, Hosana, so are we. Now, for those of you who might not know the dynamics here, these are two little leopard cubs who belong to our dominant female leopard, who's been lovingly named Queen Karula. These are her two cubs who are just over a year old. Hosana, the little prince, and Xongile, the beautiful one. Now, hello, Craig. Craig would like to know, do these cats ever hurt each other when they play? Craig, it is always a possibility. The same as children might be able to... Oh, look, his ears are going flat. Sorry, Craig. She's coming back towards him. He might pounce any second. So it is possible, but normally not with claws and teeth. It might be when they're playing in a tree, one knocks the other, gets their foot caught in a fork of a branch or something like that. Oh, wow, look at that. Look at that agility. You see, she just leapt straight in the air. Little Xongi, she is so fast. Now they are just having the best time. They're a little bit hungry, not too hungry, waiting for a mom to return. And they've been left in a very, very good area. There's lots of big trees, there's lots of water, lots to keep the leopards entertained. But they are very good at entertaining themselves. Now, as she lies down, yes, it's the signal for Hosana to start his attack. There he comes. Oh, you've been spotted. Kyle wants to know, do all the big cats use rain to help them hunt? Indeed they do. They take advantage of rain and wind and dark skies. So a lot of people are under the misconception that a full moon is the best time to hunt. It's not. It's the worst time to hunt, because with all that ambient light around, the prey species can see much better than they would on a dark night. There has to be the tiniest little bit of light for these guys to be able to see in the dark, and with their specialized nocturnal eyes, boom, behind the tree. Oh, little Xongile looks like she's getting a little bit upset. So dark weather, windy weather, rainy weather is the best for big cats hunting. Well, we've got on face-off. Lucy, Maureen, Leopard, Sandra, and Cat Hyena. Aha. So I decided not to be as tricky as I was last week, but if it was a one-on-one over a kill, the male leopard will probably win. The paws and speed will dominate that face-off. However, soon as a second hyena arrives on the scene, the tables are turned and the hyena would win. Now, most of these animals don't want to actually have those confrontations. They want to avoid getting injured. So those only happen at really, really sort of boiling point situations. And now, I thought we were going to jump up the tree. No, we're not. So we're not going to the tree, but we're going to go to the sky with the second highest thing out here apart from the drone, which is, I'm not going to tell you.
There we go, everybody, a beautiful giraffe, and not too far away, the little giraffe. And I tell you what, they're looking a little bit nervous to me. And Steph said to me this morning, he said he had a feeling that that baby giraffe, which we have been watching for some time now, had been taken by the Nkuhuma pride. Well, I didn't share his impression, and I'm rather pleased that it has not. But Mum is looking off there to the left-hand side of your screen, as you can see. And this weather, well, while it is very light, of course, is good hunting weather for cats, because the rain and the wind make it difficult for their prey species to smell and hear them when they need to. So what she's looking at, I don't know, but she's definitely looking at something. Baby doesn't look in the slightest bit distressed at all. What's that coming down the road? Oh, there's some impala on the road there. I thought for one second that those were wild dogs, but they're not. They are impala. So we don't know what's going to happen with this lot, and who knows. Right, so here I am, back in the tent with my little giraffe bone, and telling you that we are going away for a short break. We do, of course, have those leopards. We don't know what's going to happen with them. We're going to name the new cub, and hopefully we'll have the lions also as soon as you come back. See you very shortly. Hello, everyone in the internet. We're still here, breathing heavily. Of course, the weather has not played ball with us today. It hasn't played ball with us at all, really. It's blown, it's misted, it's rained, a couple of gremlins. But because we have you, our loyal followers, following us and watching us, well, we do feel like we have an enormous team of people backing us and tapping us on the back and willing us forward. So thank you very much for that. I don't suppose we can go to the drone, can we? There's such a lovely picture of Jamie driving along the road. There we go. She's... I don't know why I find the sight of these vehicles with their roofs on so thoroughly amusing, but it really does look like she's some kind of mobile peddling device. Perhaps peddling rain jackets today, I suspect. I'm just trying to get... Connor, I don't know if you can go a little bit higher up. perhaps, so I can get a perspective of exactly where you are. Oh, she's going down onto Central Road. All right. So basically, I can tell now from this picture that we are deeply confused as to where these lions are. I think the weather and the rain and the wind have played havoc with finding where the tracks have gone. I think Jamie and Steph and Connor and the tracking team, Taylor's out on tracking team, have circled this area 3 or 4 times, trying to get sign of where the lions have gone. It's all rather difficult. We're keeping an eye on the dam cam all the time. I'm afraid Ronald the rover has, he's decided that he doesn't like to work in the rain, so he's coming home. He'll be thoroughly thrashed and perhaps sent out a little bit earlier or later. Good, so there we are. We have a couple of obviously interesting things to show you during the course of the show. I'll give you a small sneak peek. There will be perhaps the playing of the ukulele. Yes, indeed, which is the finale after all. There will be the consumption of some Marula beer. Not very strong. I did test it slightly yesterday evening, but I will say that it tastes, I think, a very fine vintage. It's been aged precisely 1 week, and we'll see what that tastes like a little bit later also. Would you like to have a look at the dam camera? Shall we have a quick look? It's quite nice there also, because we can then see that the rain is pitter-pattering down onto the surface of the pan, but it's not heavy. It's just kind of dull, really. We have not, as David said to me today, had an enormous amount of luck with the weather in these live TV shows. Anyway, so it goes. And then I have something quite nice under the microscope, which I might like to repeat for the TV, but I'll give you a sneak peek of it. There it is. Oops. I'm really struggling with this guy at the moment. Being a microscope operator is a bit like being a sportsman. You're either in form or you're not. I'm not currently in form. There we go. It's alive. It's a tick. It's a nasty tick waiting for some poor hapless animal to go walking past, and then it will bite that animal and render it, well, not crippled, certainly with a slightly dull headache. Alrighty, I think we should head back to the tracking team on foot. That, of course, is Stefan Winterboer. Let's go and find out how close he thinks he is to the lions.
Always feels like I'm very, very close to these lions, but they are hunting at the moment. They're moving, and they've been moving gradually west the whole time. Where you left us the last time, we were in a bit of a grassy plain. Now we've descended into this, basically this piece of bush with a lot of rugged terrain, lots of depressions, and it's inside here that I'm hoping to find these cats. It's always a difficult thing to try and judge where lions go. They can walk up to 10, 15 miles in a single evening. And although I don't know what's driving these cats, I can imagine that it would probably be a bit of hunger. So there's a deep depression going through here, and inside these depressions you get very good grass that grows, and the grass attracts a bunch of herbivores. In particular, this pride is gifted at hunting buffalo. They really enjoy hunting a lot of them, and I'm hoping that they find themselves a buffalo and we can catch up with them either on the kill or moving towards the kill. But something spied my eye here. Yeah, we've got a little bit of bird's brandy. And you know, it is very, very good when you're on trail like this to snack and keep up your energy. This is called bird's brandy. Very, very nice midday snack. Well, not midday, mid-dawn snack. I tell you, my nerves are stretched tight here. Welcome back to the lion tracking that we're on at the moment. If you've just joined us, we're hot on the trail of a pride of lions. When you were last with us, we were in this open plain with these lions moving gradually west down a drainage line. It's a gully. This gully has split into many different gullies, and now the bush is getting thicker, the grass is getting taller, and I must be honest with you, the tension levels are even higher than they were just now. So generally speaking, these lions like to hunt these areas because these depressions grow very good grass. The grass attracts buffalo, and these lions are specialist buffalo hunters. Lions don't necessarily learn how to hunt buffalo from birth or know how to hunt buffalo from birth. They have to be taught it. It's a big animal. Buffalo weighs upwards or almost reaching 2,000 pounds. And even a female lion, a heavy female lion, is only 300 pounds. So what happens is, through experience and that pride, gradually over generations, learns how to hunt the most prevalent prey in that area at that time. And in this area, that is buffalo. And they hunt a lot of buffalo. Now, Matthew, you wanted to know if animals get aggressive towards us. Matthew, I'd like to answer that by showing you the hair standing up on the back of my arms and on the back of my neck. They can get very aggressive with you. These lionesses have got cubs, and quite often, if you sneak up on lions like we're doing at the moment, the lionesses can get aggressive in defense of their cubs. The cubs can't go anywhere, they're not very fast, and they're going to go into hiding, and that is where that lioness is going to stay. So quite often, you bump into lions, they have a very aggressive response to you, create some distance, and you start breathing again after about 10 minutes. All right, let's carry on going through here. I'm trying to see if I can show you the track of one of these lions. The ground is just so hard at the moment, it's making it quite difficult to pick out a single track for you. But basically, what I can show you is that these lions are heading down into this ditch. You can see the way the grass, maybe you can see the way the grass is bent in that direction. Right, we're going to carry on with this. We're going to send you over to Brent with those leopard, and hopefully when you see me again, we're going to have some scary lions on the end of the camera for you.
Xongile is showing us her acrobatic skills. She is so high at the moment. She must be at least 15 to 16 meters up in this leadwood tree, and she is leaping around without a care in the world. Oh, quickly, she's going to do the big jump. She's just jumping across. And you just see she's leaping to and fro. It always astounds me how... oh, what's she doing? Has she seen something up there? I said, the acrobatic is... Look, here she comes. Now, we watched her jump probably 10 feet across, branch to branch. And she is just showing how unbelievably agile she is in this wet weather. Remember, that branch is slippery and wet. Now, female leopards are always more agile than males just because of their size. And at this age, it is absolutely astounding. I mean, a wrong step and she would fall 60 foot to the ground. They are truly being magnificent this morning. We almost want a dove or some other creature to land there so that she can chase it. Now, everyone, we are aware that we have lost the TV, but we still are on YouTube, so you are still able to enjoy little Xongile playing in a leadwood tree as the drizzle descends again. Is she going to come down? I think if she comes down, Hosana might attack. Now, Abigail is wondering, how do we tell which leopard... Whoopsie! Which leopard is which? Now, Abigail, with these two, it's very easy. Oh, round and round, and attack coming! Boom! Well, there we go, Abigail. it's quite easy to see when they're both together. Hosana is just that much bigger than her. Oh, where did this weather come from? So it's, sorry, just covering up some stuff. So we thought the rain was gone, but it's just started coming in again. Not too hard. Okay. Now, it is starting to rain a bit harder. You'll be able to hear the pitter-patter on our rain covers. But of course, this wet, cool weather is the best for the leopards to play in. So, Brian's just going to put the camera rain cover on again quickly. Battening down the hatches. Oh, I did not see it coming down like this. Did you, Brian?
No.
I thought we were all good. I was concentrating so much on Hosana and Xongile that I didn't even notice the weather rolling in. What are you two going to get up to next? Oh, Hosana is now stalking Xongile again. Here he comes. A little bit. He's going to appear. Oh no, he got sidetracked. Well, it seems like some of the birds are enjoying this weather. Welcome back. We apologize for that we disappeared for a few seconds. You can see we're still with the royal cubs, Hosana and Xongile. We are coming to you live from the African bush, and the rain has started, and you can start seeing now. But of course, this wet weather is the best for these little guys. It's going to keep them active, keep them playing, and not being flat, lazy cats. So sometimes the rain is a great thing, but I've got exciting news. Quickly across to Steph with a big cat on foot.
I've got these lions. We finally found them. It's in the rain. This female she just burst out of the bush in front of us now. Very difficult to see because of the thick grass that's in front of us, but they're probably about 30 or 40 yards in front of us now. You can see this female just walking off there. You can see her. We can't get closer than we are now. Not on foot, not with wild African lions. She's already come bursting out of the bush at us. Just a little bit of a growl and a bounce out of this grass. Now, you don't want to go and push cats that are literally, that have told you, please do not come closer to our babies. Now, we have got a little bit of rain coming down now. As the rain came down, this lion burst out of the grass. I tell you, it is one of those very exciting things today. Now, I know that wasn't the best view of these particular cats that we could give you, but we'll see what we can do. I don't want to go into this bush right now with them still in there. What we're going to do is wait for them to leave the bush on the other side. She came running at us, and her baby's left. And I can just see her in the background over there, just moving from there. She goes there. You can just see her at the back. So she's decided we're not a threat anymore. She's followed her babies, and she's creating distance. And that's all these cats really want, is they just want you to create a little bit of distance, and they give you one warning, and then after that it gets a little bit more tense. What we'll do is we'll just stick around. We're going to try and see if we can get a vehicle in here for you, although very, very thick. All right, so while we look at and see what these lions are going to do, we're going to send you over to Jamie, who's found some elephant.
It is incredibly exciting. Lions on foot, leopards with Brent, and now an elephant roadblock in the rain. Isn't this absolutely stunning? For those of you that have just jumped on board, my name is Jamie, and we're coming to you live from the Greater Kruger National Park area of South Africa. And we find ourselves sitting with probably my favorite animal to sit and watch, and particularly in the rain. There's nothing like elephants. They are always up to something interesting. Obviously, there is their massive bulk, the largest mammal on the planet, or at least on land on the planet. And of course, that fascinating brain of theirs, the incredible complex social dynamics, are somewhere in here, and I think it's hidden behind one of the other elephants. Ooh. You can just hear this gentle rumbling, deep, gentle rumbling of the elephants around us. You might have noticed a pole in your frame. That's just because, as you may see, it is pouring with rain, so we are protecting our vehicles with a roof. But that low rumble came from one of the large females, probably potentially the matriarch, calling to the rest of the herd and gathering them together. There must be 20, maybe even 30 elephants all around us. I absolutely adore scenes like this one. All gathered together. Some of them have been having a little bit of a mud bath. We would, of course, have raced off to Steph, but I think spending time in traffic out here on our Monday morning, this isn't a bad traffic jam to be in. Elephant roadblock. There is a tiny calf right up ahead with one of the larger females. It's not the one on the right. There is actually one that is smaller than that. And I think Mom is keeping it close to her side and shepherding it across the road. You can see they love this weather. When you're as bulky as an elephant, nice, cool, rainy weather like this, rather than temperatures between 90 and 100 degrees Fahrenheit, is perfect. Oh, quick scratch of the ear with its trunk. Hello, Elise. Isn't this beautiful? There's no more iconic a shot than leopard bottoms wandering down a road. Hey, little ones, let's catch up with them. It's always very important to remember that elephants are potentially dangerous animals. They don't bear humans any ill will, but it's always very, very important to be incredibly respectful of them, mostly because we live in their home and not the other way around, but also because, should they wish to, they are very, very protective over their calves, and if they wanted to, they could do serious damage to us and the vehicle. Most of the time, though, an elephant sighting is extraordinarily peaceful. I find that no matter what mood I'm in, I really, really enjoy the company of elephants. Not too long ago, I actually had an extraordinary sighting of an elephant calf that was just a few hours old and was still stumbling, still wobbly, and it gave me the most fantastic insight into the way in which these extraordinary creatures operate. Look at this little one. It's got mud all over its head. It's been having a mud bath. That, of course, helps to relieve all sorts of itchy things on their skin, pick up external parasites, and all sorts of wondrous things like that. Don't forget to send through your questions, and you can do that using the hashtag #SafariLive on Twitter. Hello, little one. Is that a yummy mouthful of grass? Yes. You're enjoying the rain almost as much as I am. I love mornings like this. while we watch our elephants, Kim, you want to know if young elephants will stay with the herd when they are young. Kim, it depends on if it's a female or a male. When males reach puberty or when they reach sexual maturity, they actually leave the herd, partly through an instinctive drive to move away, and also due to the fact that they get pushed by the older females of the herd. If it is a female calf, however, she will stay with the herd for the rest of her life, which means that she will be there, she will live with her mother, her sisters, her aunts, her cousins, and that is why the bonds between elephant herds are so phenomenally powerful. And to see an elephant herd encircling its youngsters and protecting them is a humbling experience, I feel, with elephants. There's this awareness that they are truly extraordinary thinkers, massive brains 3 times the size of that of a human being. And of course, they're in long lifespans, up to 60, even 70 years in the wild. Now, as our lovely elephants wander off into the rainy morning, I think it's time to go across to James so that he can tell you something very, very special.
Oh, sorry about that. I will introduce that a little bit later. I was just having a little bit of a practice. If you have just joined us, you are on a live safari from the northeast corner of the world's most beautiful country, that is South Africa. Well, it's certainly the most beautiful if you happen to be a South African like I am. My name is James Hendry. You've met Jamie and Brent and Steph a little bit earlier, and if you haven't, you shortly will. And hashtag Safari Live is how you get hold of us. Now, at the beginning of the show, I promised you that you were going to have the opportunity to name a leopard. Now, that is quite an honor, I must say, because the honor normally falls to the tracker and ranger team that find a leopard cub first. And Tandi's cub last week we met. He's got enormous ears, so he's very easy to see. And we're going to give you 3 names now. And I'm just going to tell you how this process normally unfolds. The tracker and ranger will normally find the cub, and when it's a year old, they will then be given the opportunity to name the cub. Now, the people at Chitwa, where we did find Tandi last week, very kindly offered 3 names up for us to choose. So there are 3 names in the language of Xitsonga or Shangaan, depending on which dialect you happen to be speaking, and they all describe bits and pieces of his life. And what we're going to do now is play the clip. The names will appear, the spelling of the 3 names will appear, so you need to tell us on hashtag Safari Live which one of those 3 names you'd like. So it's hashtag Safari Live, which one of the names do you like? And we'll have a look at them right now. There we go. Shavava is a melancholy name. This big-eared fellow who stole our hearts last week lost a sibling when he was very young. Tamba is a powerful name meaning boulder, and Tandi's cub was born in the lee of a huge rock shaded by a gorgeous fig tree. Tumbela means to hide, and the young cat spent many weeks hidden beneath the deck of a Chitwa chalet. Now imagine walking out onto your deck for a midday G&T and finding those sparkling eyes staring up at you. I think it might be quite fun to stare off your deck into the eyes of that leopard. So those are the 3 names: Shavava, Tamba, and Tumbela. Shavava, Xavava, Tamba, Thamba, and Tumbela, Tumbela. I mean, the sort of painful one, the rock, and hide. Beautiful names for a beautiful leopard. Let's head back to another 2 beautiful leopards.
Well, they're still being too adorable for words, chasing each other about. And I'm hoping that they're going to continue to do so. Now, we are, what I would say, almost properly soaked now. But it looks like it's clearing again, so hopefully this cool weather will just continue to keep them bouncing up and down. So it does have its benefits, and you know what? I don't mind being wet as long as I get to sit with playing leopards. Now, they're being a little bit sweet, giving each other a little bit of a clean there. Oh, she's looking up. She might go up the tree. So when you see leopards look up like that, sometimes it means they are thinking about climbing. Oh no, let's just scratch their head first on a bush. Now, we've got so many questions, and it's so great to hear from all of you. Oh, boom! Oh, absolutely wonderful. Hi, Layla, who's 8 years old, wants to know, how long do the cubs stay with their mother? Well, Layla, females normally between 16 and 18 months, and little boys up to 2 years. Now, the reason they have to stay with them for the boys stay longer is because they have a harder life and they've got to leave the area they were born in, otherwise the big males will kill them, whilst the little females will be given a part of the mom's territory, so she's able to stay, and that means she's got a bit of an easier start in life, so she normally leaves a little bit earlier. And Layla, we all know boys don't like to leave their mothers. Now, you might have heard another vehicle come in. Hi, Jack, who's 12 years old. Jack wants to know, how far can leopards jump? Well, Jack, they can jump vertically up to about 15 feet, but horizontally, I've seen them go well over that distance. Now, it also all depends on the individual leopard. Some leopards are better jumpers than others, and we've seen that already this morning with little Xongile being a much better jumper than her brother. But that's also because she's smaller and lighter. Oh, look at him, he's gone flat. Watching, watching, watching. Is he going to leap? Bada wants to know, how are leopards different from jaguars? Well, firstly, they don't live in South America. They live in Africa and Asia. Now, they're much, much smaller. A big or male jaguar is about the size of a lioness, whereas a leopard is much, much smaller. So a male leopard can be 200 pounds, but a jaguar can get close to 300 pounds. And one of the other big differences, apart from being quite a lot darker than leopards in their coloration, because a lot of them are in the Amazon basin rainforests, is that they are very good swimmers, and they actually like swimming, whereas leopards will generally try avoid. Oh, the stalk is on. We can only see one. And, oh, getting so close. Look at those muscles bunch. Hi, Rachel. Rachel's wondering, do they eat every day? They don't. They normally eat every 3 to 4 days, Rachel. But on average, if you have to work out what they eat over a month, a female leopard probably eats about 7 pounds of meat a day on average. But they can go for as long as 2 weeks with no food. Now, we can't see where the other leopard is, but obviously she can. Look at that focus. Hi, Mary. Mary's wondering, how are we able to get so close to the leopards? Well, Mary, well, there they go. Behind the bush. There's some spots up in the top right corner. Oh, Mary, sorry about that. The leopards were being playful. So Mary was wondering how close, or how do we get so close to these leopards? Mary, it's called habituation. So we've been following these leopards, these particular two, I've been following them for their whole lives. We found them when they were about 6 or 7 hours old in a den, and they've grown up with vehicles. So they've become very used to us, and as long as you don't push the boundaries, and if their mother shows any sign of being uncomfortable, we'll immediately move away, give them space, and it's about having respect for the animals, and then they become accustomed to having the vehicles. Now, the most important thing is never to stand up. And that sounds like a very strange thing, because while we're in the vehicle, we don't show the bipedal figure of man. Now, man has been the dominant diurnal predator on the African savannas for about 200,000 years. So they know that bipedal figure as a threat, like a lion would be a threat, so they generally run away or become aggressive. So as long as you keep still or seated, and you treat the animals with the utmost respect, and give them distance when they need it, and let them come to you rather than you force yourself into their space, we are able to get very, very close to them. Now, those little guys have moved off. I can't see them just yet. while we are trying to get a bit closer to those lions, let's go see how Steph's lion on foot incident is going.
We haven't moved very far from where we were just a few minutes ago. These lions just moved into this thick bush, and it is so thick that it's literally we're walking 5 steps and stopping and listening, and walking 5 steps and stopping and listening. If you've just joined the show, my name is Stefan Tabur. We've just walked into a pride of lion in one of the thickest sections in Nkuhuma. Now, these are wild lions. They're not used to people, and although they see people in the vehicles most of the time, they don't see people on foot. And this adds danger to what we're doing at the moment. There's cubs in this pride, there are females looking to protect the pride, and that is exactly what I'm nervous of in this thick bush. Visibility is only about 20 yards or so, and it's because of that we're being so careful. I caught the glimpse of what I thought was a male lion with these particular females. It was so difficult to see, but they're somewhere right here. Now, Daisy, you just asked me if rain affects our ability to track these lions. It doesn't really affect our ability to track these lions, apart from making it a bit more uncomfortable. What it would do, though, is it creates a different behavior in the lions. Lions don't enjoy getting wet, the same as what we don't enjoy getting wet. And they'll go and look for places underneath bushes. So whereas in the beginning of this particular show, we were expecting the lions to be in the open, at the moment, I'm expecting the lions to be undercover. And that once again increases the danger a couple of fold. Mainly because you can't see the difference between a male lion, bedraggled, his mane hanging down, and grass. They're the same color. Now, these particular lions look like they may have crossed this drainage line. I'm hoping so, and out onto the open on the other side. But it's going to take us a very long time to get through here. And we're going to be tiptoeing through here. Anyway, so what we're going to do is send you over to James, who's got a refreshing drink for you, while we carry on through here.
Very exciting indeed, hey? Lions on foot. Hoped they were going to be at the tent. Well, at least Steph got them. That's brilliant stuff. Now, of course, this is the last of our 8-week series, and so my friends Tom and Simon, shut up Simon, have got very nice party hats, and in order to help us celebrate the last, we have, remember, of course, brewed some delicious Marula beer. Now, I have tasted it during the course of the week, but I have not tasted it this morning, so I'm going to pour 2 glasses once I've shaken it up a little bit. You saw me making it last week with Tandiwe Mwetwa of Zambia. She, unfortunately, is not here to share it with us. Oh, what do you think, David? I think this looks like a fine vintage, don't you? Good legs, a fine aroma. Of rotting fruit. Excellent. Let's taste it, shall we? A taste of apricots, bit of wine, quite a lot of tartness to it, but it's actually not bad at all. So I'm going to pour David a glass, and he's going to have to wait for it.
Thank you.
Now, we've chatted a little bit while Steph is, of course, with lions today. He has spoken extensively and showed you about bush foods out here. And so, as we have done over the last 8 weeks, we're going to play the game, you and I, 2 truths and 1 lie. And the 2 truths and 1 lie today is about foods that you may or may not consume in the bush. If you haven't played the game before, this is how it works. I give you 3 statements. One of them is a foul and contemptible untruth, and you need to pick which one of the 3 is utter rubbish. Then you hashtag Safari Live, answer 1, answer 2, or answer 3. Okay, now I am going to be helped today for the last time by my 2 friends before they go into a sort of well-deserved retirement. And, Tom, would you like to help with 2 truths and 1 lie and perhaps give us the first statement? Yes, I believe I would, James. Okay, good. Well, here we go then. Okay. Did you know that you can cook an egg in an orange peel out here. You can poach it, or you can fry it, or you can boil it. It's very delicious. Yes, Tom, that's absolutely correct. Did you know that you can cook an egg in an orange peel out here? You can poach it, or you can boil it, or you can fry it. It's very delicious indeed. Now, can I do one, James? Yes, okay, Simon, but you will only do the statement and nothing else. Okay, statement number 2. You can eat snakes out here. Snakes are delicious. They taste a little bit like chicken, even if they're venomous. And you know that... That's enough, thank you very much, Simon. So you can eat snakes out here, a little bit like chicken, quite delicious sometimes. If you chop their heads off, you can eat any kind of snake out here if you're hungry. And the third fact I'm going to give to you. Statement 3. Ripe marulas will make a human drunk. Enough of them. So those are your 3 statements. Answer 1, answer 2, or answer 3. Hashtag Safari Live. Tell us which one you think is rubbish. The first one that Tom gave us, you can cook an egg in an orange peel. The second one that Simon gave us, well, no, enough from you. You can eat any snake you like out here. And the third one, ripe marulas will in fact make you drunk. There we are. Those are the 3 facts. While I drink a little bit more of this delicious beer, I'm going to send you back across to Jamie, and I'm sure she is as relieved as I am that the rain has abated, and hopefully she will have some lions soon.
The rain hasn't abated at all, James. It's been streaming into our eyes, dripping down off the roof. It definitely has not gone anywhere. But that's okay, it's not going to dampen our spirits, because we are so excited to catch up with the Nkuhuma Pride. Now, for those of you that have just joined us, my name is Jamie, and I've been working with Steph all morning to try and track down these lions. Now, earlier on you would have seen Steph with them on foot. Now, we have to find the lions and Steph somewhere along this road. I'm just waiting. Apparently, he says he's just through here somewhere, and that he'll come out and meet us on the road. So shout if you see him, please. And also, send through any questions that you might have on hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. This is why rainy days are such perfect days for searching for the big cats. Oh, might make things a little slippery. There we go, I've got Steph up ahead. Right, let's join up with the walking team, and they can tell us where to go. All right. While we chat to the walking team and get some guidance. Hello, thank you very much. Good, thanks. So while we do this, let's go back to Brent and those beautiful spotted cats.
Well, Xongile has found herself perched up a tree, but we can't really see Hosana at the moment. We can just see the havoc he's causing. He's climbed into a group of bushes there, and all we can see is movement in the bushes as he flounders about, not showing the same elegance and poise that his sister has when it comes to acrobatics. I can't even see him now. You see him? I've lost sight of him. He was literally in there somewhere. You can just see a little bit of leaf movement. I'm just trying to have a look. Where's he gone? But it is wonderful that they are still being so active. The rain's calmed down a little bit, and the weather is almost perfect at the moment. So it is just unbelievable to be out here. Now let's have a quick look at what little Xongile is doing in the tree, watching her brother. Hello, Samantha. I hope you're having a fantastic evening. Samantha would like to know, what are the enemies of the leopard? Well, all the other predators, hyena, lion, wild dog, are the main enemies of the leopard. However, you could probably include buffalo and elephant as well. Although, oh, there we go, just branches moving. There he is. Is he going to fall? Oh, he fell out of the tree. Silly, silly Hosana. Now, buffalo and elephant, although they're generally too slow to catch the leopards, they do pose a danger. Now, remember, on Monday, Big Cat Week is starting, so you'll be able to see lots more of these wonderful creatures. And if you've been enjoying this 8-week live adventure in the African bush, you can join us every day for 6 hours on the website WildSafariLive.com. Watching her brother quite intently as he flounders around below her. Of course, she maintains that elegance as she is atop the tree. Isn't she just too gorgeous, living up to her name, the exquisitely beautiful one? She seems quite intent on watching her little brother, or little big brother. What is he up to now? He's obviously fallen out of the tree and he's wandering around in those thickets where we can't see him. Now, Aiden is wondering, would big cats hunt or use the same methods of hunting in sunshine as they would in the rain? Most definitely, Aiden. So it's easier for them in the rain. The rain dulls the prey's senses. They can't hear, they can't smell as well. But it doesn't rain every day out here. And actually, we only probably get 30 days or 35 days of rain in total a year. So they've got to hunt in the sunshine quite a lot of the time. And of course they are quite successful, but if they get that windy, rainy weather, it is much easier for them to succeed. Now, I wonder if their mother has caught something and is on her way back to them. Both last night and this morning's weather would have aided her hunting. Oh, is it? It's amazing how they're just able to entertain themselves. Oh, is she going to come down the tree? No, she's just leaping on the branches. Look at this. I'm sure most tightrope walkers would be jealous of her balance. Just have a look. I think she might. What are you going to do, Xongile? Oh, going to... Yo, look at that! Straight up. I mean, those branches are not very big at all. One foul step in this wet weather, her paw could get caught in a fork, and that's the most likely way they are to injure themselves while playing. I actually have seen it before, but fortunately these are really resilient creatures, and they make quick comebacks. Let's just have a quick look, see if she comes tumbling down.
Right, everybody, I'm sorry about that rather sudden entrance to where we are here at the tent. Of course, we're still waiting for the lions to come across, but I don't think they're going to just yet, and I'll show you why now. Before I do that, this is the result, if you can tell, of our 2 truths and 1 lie, and that makes it a solid thrashing 8 out of 8 that you have thoroughly trounced me during the game. 2 truths and 1 lie. I have lost every single week, and this makes me very depressed indeed. 53% of you said that ripe marulas will not make you drunk. No, they will not make you drunk. And it is a legend out here, of course, that ripe marulas make baboons and elephants drunk. Absolute codswallop. Doesn't make any difference to them at all. It probably just makes them quite happy because it's sugary and full of vitamin C. Snakes, interestingly, are completely edible. They're delicious to eat. Apparently, I've never eaten one. I've eaten a bit of crocodile before, but I've never eaten a snake. And, of course, you can. You saw in the very first episode, Steph cooking an egg. No, it was the second episode, actually, cooking an egg in a ripe nartki peel. You won't know what a nartki is. It's a little bit like an orange, easy to peel out here. So that's the case there. Well done to all of you, and thank you for taking part in it. Now, let's have a quick look where everyone is at the moment. because they've moved substantially since I last saw you. We are operating, of course, on a number of different small reserves in the greater Kruger National Park, of course, none of them bounded by any fences. And what we have now is a situation where we followed the lion tracks across the dam wall here. Steph followed them all the way here, up north, and that's where they are now. That's just about where he spotted them. And the lions are over there in blue. And Jamie is also around here now. She's trying to find them in the vehicle so we can get a much closer look. There she is. And Brent Leo Smith is all the way down here. Here is Twin Dams, and he's down here just to the south of that with these rather marvelous little leopard cubs. So that's where everyone is. It's a traversing area of roughly 10,000 acres or so it's a fairly vast place that we've been following these lions, and that territory is roughly the same size as the Nkuhuma Pride's territory, so hopefully they will have luck there. Now, over the course of the 8 weeks, I'm sure you've been wondering, how on earth do they do what they do? Well, take a look at this and you'll find out. Safari Live operates in the greater Kruger National Park, South Africa, part of 8.5 million contiguous acres of pristine African wild. Djuma, on the western fringes of this giant reserve, is the beautiful piece of wilderness that we call home. Many of Africa's iconic fauna and flora thrive here. The magnificent animals of Western Kruger have become habituated to humans through 30 years of tracking, viewing, and photographing them. Just a few meters away. This is not to say that they are tame in any way.
We don't want to be in the wrong spot.
Safari Live is brought to you through an astonishing array of technical and wilderness wizardry.
There's a trunk coming. Oh, look at the nose! Coming to smell him?
The enormously dedicated team of wildlife filmmakers lives and works in the bush, relishing the challenges that come with broadcasting a high-definition signal live from the African wilderness. Starting to feel the effects of that marula beer slightly now. I'm not really, don't worry. It's not that strong. It's probably like a very mild beer. Okay, now, we're going to ask you, please, during the course of the, well, next 10 minutes or so, to please tell us what Safari Live over the last 8 weeks has meant to you. In one word, hashtag Safari Live, what has Safari Live meant to you? Why am I tearing this off, you might say to me? Well, the thing is that I really quite like making paper aeroplanes, as does David, and so while you are getting an update from Jamie about the lion tracking, we're going to be making some aeroplanes out of our maps, and we'll see which one flies better a little bit later.
So while James makes aeroplanes on our somewhat rainy live safari finale, we are still searching for these lions. They have kept us guessing all morning, and it seems as though they have moved from where Steph originally saw them. And now, excuse me, so now it's just a question of figuring out where they've moved to. So they were walking in this direction, but because the roads are so wet, it's very, very tricky to see whether or not they have crossed the road. Now, I'm looking under each and every single bush. I'm hoping that the rain might have kept them from wandering too far. But it remains to be seen. We're just going to keep trying as we zip around. That's the joy, of course, of live wildlife filming. And sometimes the animals are where you least expect them to be. Because they're hungry and because it's cool and cloudy, there's an answer to Erin's question that she sent through. Erin, a lion can easily walk 10 miles a day if they are hungry, or if it is a male on a territorial patrol, which obviously there's no male with them at the moment, but when lionesses are hungry, when they're looking for food, then they're going to keep moving, keep pushing. If it gets really, really hot, then they have to stop moving, because lions do overheat quite quickly. But they've had the whole night and the whole of this morning to wander around. And from where we started tracking them this morning, they have probably covered about 5 miles. And that is with 6 relatively young cubs. So they really do, when they need to, they really do motor around the various reserves. And the same applies for any animal. We tend to think of particularly predators as quite lazy creatures. It's actually not the case at all. They can cover enormous distances. And the lions were walking in this direction, so just bear with me one moment. You can see there's another vehicle coming to help us search. I'm just going to shift around so that we stick our nose in here and just hope they pop out. There should be somewhere here. Let's stop and listen. Now, Dakota, you want to know whether or not we have ever had any close calls with the big cats. Well, Dakota, we've had a few, never with vehicles. I have never, ever had a problem with any of the big cats, and while I've been sitting in the vehicle, they tend to see us, they tend to be very, very comfortable with our presence, and they tend not to see us as a threat. However, I have been charged once or twice on foot. The books tend to say it or call it a mock charge. It's a very, very bad idea to call it a mock charge because the animal's not joking. It's not a game. It's a warning charge. It's trying to tell you that you come into its space. Please go away. Please back off. So I've been growled at a few times by lions on foot. I've had 1 or 2 come racing out of the bush. One of the weirdest experiences I ever had was with a cheetah that charged me on foot. And that is a strange experience because generally cheetah are relatively innocuous creatures. But this one came bouncing out of the bushes with straight legs, looking very upset to see me. And that was certainly a surprise. Right, I wanted to just stop and listen there for a moment to see if I could hear any alarm calls. No luck. Let's try a different approach. We might have to go zooming in off-road. Okay, so Steph was just on the other side of that river system. I'm just going to go and check and see what we can find. In the meantime, why don't you go and be entertained by whatever James is singing to?
Oh, Matilda, the mantis, how lovely you are. Oh, Matilda, the mantis, I have fallen in love, everybody, and I fell in love with Matilda. You met her last week, Matilda the mantis, and I fell in love with her because she survived on this very leaf, I joke not, for the duration of the driving rains and wind that came through here. This stoic mantis sat on the Swaltheria plant through wind, rain, blinding heat, and here she finds herself. So that's what she's doing there. Now, also on the same tree, we have got the caterpillars. Now, the caterpillars have put in what I consider to be a very poor performance. They have grown, but I was hoping by the time we got to this point in our series, they would have become butterflies. They have not. They've just become fat worms, which is not really what we wanted. They have, of course, grown quite substantially because they were only about 1/10 of a millimeter when we first found them. And now they are at least 1.5 inches thick. So let us just take a very close look at Matilda the mantis. She is now staring at you. She loves to be on TV. Magnolia, while we stare at Matilda the mantis, you want to know, or you say, that your one-word tweet for what Safari Live meant to you was connection. I think that is possibly the word that I would have chosen, because it is. It's a connection to wilderness. We had that first experience with the Nyala out here. We had this experience with Matilda the mantis, and we are so connected and so plugged into the wild here. Absolutely there with the lions on foot, and I hope that we've managed to transfer some of that wilderness connection to you during the course of our series. We're going to go away for a short break now. Hopefully, when you come back, we will have those lions. We'll certainly have the leopards. Don't go anywhere. Right, we're with you in the internet. Wasn't she wonderful? Do you want to see her under the microscope? I'm sure you would. Let's go and see if we can't have a look at her under the microscope. She didn't behave very well under the microscope yesterday, but we'll see if she does now. I hope you liked our little song to her. David, did you like the song? Yes, I thought it was very beautiful indeed. Not quite a Elvis Costello classic, but you know we do what we can with what we have. What I shall do is encourage her onto my finger. Now, I promised Kirsten I would be able to do this quickly today, and I am disappointing. No, there we are. There she is. Is she not wonderful? Let me just put my hand down, onto the table, and there we go. How can you not be in love with Matilda the Mantis? She's too wonderful. So I think we're probably going to just set this up nicely for TV. I'm just going to change the exposure, everybody, on the microscope slightly. I think this picture is too good not to do on TV. So let's just try and sort this out in a slightly more, professional fashion. And while we practice this, Jamie has actually found the lions.
We have finally found the lions, and they are hiding in some very, very dense vegetation just off to my left. Finally, we have been successful. I'm just going to try and... Here they come. Here we go. Hi, guys. There's the entire pride of lions walking along. Isn't this spectacular? The lions we've been looking for all morning. Steph found them on foot. You can see the Nkuhumas scratched and scarred and looking particularly hungry. There is nothing more spectacular than the sight of a pride of lions, and so rewarding after a long morning of driving in the drizzle. 3 adult females and 6 cubs. So still missing 2 of their adult members, 2 of the adult females, Amber Eyes and the youngest female. She's going to give herself a good stretch, clean out those claw sheaths, and off they go again. Now, we've only got a few brief seconds to spend with these lions before they disappear, so let us make the absolute most of it. What an awesome, awesome morning. Here they go. She's going to shift here. She seems to want to come in our direction, so I'm just going to get out of her way. Here we go. Hey, girls. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Those cubs have got so big. Look at them. We have watched those cubs since they were just 10 days old. Their eyes weren't even open, and now the parade of them looking gangly and almost like little teenagers. Still hungry. They obviously didn't manage to catch anything, even in this bad weather, which of course usually advantages the lionesses. Perhaps I'm biased, but I think these lionesses are truly spectacular. Wet, muddy paws. Don't want to get my feet dirty, Mum. Over and across onto the island. Muddy elbows, muddy feet, and gangly lions. We're going to be going black screen ever so briefly, but don't go anywhere. We'll be with you very, very shortly. Look at little bums. So cute. I'm just going to try and get us into a good position. Don't want them to feel pressured. They have been slightly more skittish than normal. Toodaloo, we'll see you soon.
This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
And welcome back to all of you, where finally we have caught up with the lion pride that we've been searching for all morning. What a truly spectacular way to finish off the finale of our 8-week live safari series, and so perfect for the start of NatGeo Wild's Big Cat Week. The pride of the Nkuhuma lions and their 6 cubs. So excited after all of the work this morning, driving around in the rain, to eventually catch up with some very special lions. Your little one. Oh, we're going to shift around. It looks as though they're actually cutting back towards us. That is brilliant news for all of us concerned. There they go. We're just going to shift up a little bit. Look at that. Aren't they utterly stunning? We've been searching for them all week, and here they are once again. Absolutely lovely. Oh, the incredible Nkuhumas. We have watched these cubs grow up since they were just 10 days old. Oh, you can see? Oh, one of the lionesses heard something. They're so hungry that absolutely anything, even a small antelope, will do. They've got to feed these 6 growing cubs, and they are still on the hunt. Even though the morning is getting later, the rain has abated for now, these lionesses won't stop moving until they get their goal. Dedication and utter focus. They truly are a gorgeous pride of lions. There's usually 5 females. At the moment, there's only 3. The mother of the 6 cubs. Look at her. Look at the power in those legs, and the focus in her face. Hey, girl. On the move, on the hunt, and under pressure. Now, the missing 2 adult females are probably with the dominant pride members. Now, Katie, you want to know how the lions communicate with each other. Katie, some of it's vocal, of course. They can roar, they can growl, they can contact call to each other. But some of it is also visual. So the black dots behind the ears, the black patches behind the ears, and the black tip of the tail, they use those to coordinate their hunts. Now, if you would like a question answered in the same way that Katie did, please send through to #SafariLive on Twitter. And cubs are taking a little bit of a rest, taking a little bit of a break. One big yawn from the female. She's tired. She's been walking all day. They've stopped for now. Time to have a little bit of a break. Look at that. You can see, if you look in their bellies, between their back legs, you can actually see the droop to it, the flap of skin that's showing. And that is what immediately tells us that these are very, very hungry cats. And there's scars. She's got old injuries on her elbow. These lions have been through the wars recently, but that hasn't stopped them. At one stage when we were watching the Nkuhumas, they were killing a buffalo a day in the drought. And it's been an astounding privilege to actually watch and follow the story of these lions. There were originally 8 cubs. 2 of them were struck by a disease known as white muscle disease, and the other cubs started to show symptoms as well. Even the adults were showing symptoms. It manifested itself in paralysis, and all it turned out to be was a vitamin deficiency that was caused by the diet that they were eating, which ultimately was caused by the drought. But for us, having become so attached to these cats, it was a truly tragic loss. And yet at the same time, coupled with the joy of the fact that they recovered fully. I'm so glad that our morning has gone in this fashion. We're going to sit here with the Nkuhumas. In the meantime, I think it's time for you to go and have a look at Matilda.
There is Matilda, everybody. She's staring down the barrel of the microscope. She is a beautiful, beautiful creature, is she not? You can see why I've fallen utterly in love with her. I going to put her back on her leaf very shortly indeed, but I think she's just very special. My name is James Hendry, in case you're wondering. This is Matilda. She is shortly to be my wife, I think. I think I shall marry her today. I'm not really going to marry a mantis. That would be ridiculous. Now, those lions are on the hunt, of course, and we're shortly going to have a little bit of a look at how they hunt. But before we do that, let me just tell you that you have all chosen the name for our wonderful little leopard cub. It was, in fact, my choice as well. Tamba, the Rock, T-H-A-M-B-A. He's going to be a big fellow, I think, with his giant ears and huge feet. So Tamba, the Rock, is an excellent name, and thank you all for taking part in the naming process of that leopard. It is a great honor to have your participation, and I'm sure for you, an honor to name a little leopard cub all the way here in Africa. Let's take a look now at how the Nkuhuma pride gets on with the business of hunting. Lions are the apex predator of the African wilderness. Only a pride of lions working as a unit can take on a 2,000-pound buffalo bull. When the old bull turns, the chase is on. Now the team has split their skill. A lioness leaps onto the back, driving her 3-inch canines into the spine. Others tear at the flailing hooves with razor claws. The throat must be crushed to stop the terrified bellowing. The bull's life is suffocated as vicious jaws clamp over the muzzle. But teamwork on the hunt doesn't mean an equal share at the table. In a startling turnaround from a well-coordinated buffalo kill, the members of the pride growl, slash and bite at each other, regardless of the vast amount of meat for dinner. But lions don't have to work in teams. When we visited the Mara Triangle, we saw how it sometimes pays to be an opportunistic singleton.
Here's a lion. There's a lion right next to us. I don't even know what to say, everyone. Look, look, look. Look at this.
You are back on your live drive, having had a little bit more background into the way in which the various animals interact in this area. Very sadly, our lions have moved out of the area that we can drive in. There's no fences between the various properties in this reserve, but there are certain places that we can drive and certain places that we can't. And the Nkuhumas have gone off to hunt into a reserve a little bit to the north of us. But there are some very relieved antelope that are very, very glad that they were not the lion's next meal. Hey, little impala, looking a little bit soggy and a little bit damp, but very, very relieved that the tawny cats has passed it by. A young female just born this year. Isn't she gorgeous? Lucky little one. Although you wouldn't make much of you wouldn't even be a snack for that many hungry lions. 9 hungry lions. Definitely not. You can see its big ears looking across. They, of course, have to be so alert about what's going on around them. I'm sure you're wondering what Brent has been up to. Let's go and have a look at a very large aquatic creature.
Well, we left Hosana and Xongile sleeping in some impenetrable thickets, and we decided, oh, we've had such a wonderful time, we might as well go sit with the hippos. And it is beautifully still here, lots of hippos about, and of course, last time you were here with Jamie, I think she saw a massive crocodile. Now, there's a couple of big crocodiles in this area, and we saw that one in last week's show, that catch-up clip of the leopards hissing at the crocodile, but that one I decided to nickname Boris the Blade. Now, the big crocodile that's here, is he still there? He's still lurking on the edges of the water. He's in hunting mode. Look at that. Now, it looks quite small, but he's probably 10 or 11 feet long, and we've decided to nickname him Vladimir the Impaler. So there's Vlad, looking to impale something for breakfast. Remember, hashtag Safari Live if you want to ask any questions about Vlad the Impaler or the hippopotamus. Of course, I'm not referring to Vlad the Impaler, who started the legend of Dracula, but Vlad the crocodile at the Chitwa Chitwa Dam. Oh, it sounds like the hippos are up to. You can just hear them splashing up ahead of us. Now we're trying to see that tiny baby that we were lucky enough to see a few hours after it was born a couple of weeks ago. And it's amazing how fast these animals grow. I was really hoping with this cool weather some of the hippos might be sort of lounging outside of the water, but it looks like because it gets quite cold, they're warmer in the water. Now, hippos are very, very interesting. Hello. Oh, look at that. And Kim is wondering, will hippos leave the water to defend their territory? Very seldom, Kim. The water is their safe place. And a very interesting fact about hippos is that they are not territorial outside of the water. So they're only territorial when they're in the water. Now, male hippos' territorial battles will take place outside of the water sometimes, and they can go on for hours, and the noises, the screaming, the roars, you would think that World War III was taking place. Now, they fight over little patches of water that are big enough to hold females, and that's what the battles are about. So hippos are only territorial in the water, but their territorial fights do sometimes leave the water. Now they'll also be very pleased with the rain and the lovely lush green grass. Now, they look so lovely and relaxed, and they also look so large and cumbersome. And Jeff was wondering, is it true that they are one of the most dangerous animals? Jeff, they are responsible for more human deaths in Africa than any other mammal. More than lions, more than elephants, more than leopards, more than hyenas. It is the hippopotamus. Now, the reason for this is quite often it happens in the water with local fishermen. When they're tending their nets, they might get in the hippo's territory in little wooden dugout canoes, and a big male hippo's bottom canines are absolutely massive, going over 30 inches long. They are razor sharp because they are sharpened against each other, and they can absolutely cut a human being in half. The other time where hippos and people come into conflict is at night. While the hippos are out of the water grazing, they don't feel as comfortable as when they're in the water, and people accidentally walk into them in the dark around villages and things. So it mostly happens in rural Africa, but it looks like the hippopotamuses are not going to leap out of the water. We're quite safe where we're sitting. Now, speaking of another potentially dangerous animal, Steph has got something small and venomous.
I must be honest with you, the picture of hippo leaping out of the water doing backflips and celebrating the rain is generating a funny picture in my mind. But anyway, you having a look at here, one of the most dangerous spiders that we find out here in the African bush where we are, and it's breakfast, which is a termite. This is a brown widow spider, one of the widows, and this particular spider, if it had to bite you, has a venom that affects your heartbeat and your breathing. And if she had to bite me, it causes intense pain and then difficulty with breathing, a little bit of anxiety. If I had a heart condition, or if I didn't know one, it will probably come out after being bitten by this particular spider, in that your heart starts to beat quite erratically. And even from something as small as your fingernail, which is as big as this particular spider is, that is what you'd get. Now, the black widow is arguably the more potent or the more dangerous of the two widows, but it's only, I think, because the black widow is more closely associated to homes, whereas the brown widow that you're seeing now is a bush liver. But isn't it incredible that what we're looking at there is her web, and this particular web is called a cob web, not a radial web or a ground web, a flat web, a horizontal web, but a cobweb. And a cobweb is made up of many different types of entanglement snares, and what it's basically designed to do is to trap large animals, and that's exactly what's happened here. This termite has landed onto this piece of grass and got entangled in this cobweb. The spider's come out, subdued it, and now what it's doing is injecting it with venom, which would have killed it, but also its venom starts to liquefy the inside of the termite's body, and that makes it into sort of a termite milkshake, which the spider then sucks dry and sucks out, and will literally suck out the entire husk of this particular termite and then discard the remnants of it, waiting for the next meal. Now, funny thing about these spiders is you think that them being at the top of the food chain, they wouldn't have anything that sort of preys on them, but I've just recently learned that there's a fly larvae that just specifically targets the egg sacs of these particular spiders. What the fly does is land on the spider's egg sac, lay her eggs inside the egg sac. The young fly, the maggot, then lives inside the spider's body. Can you believe that? Actually just living off of the fluids inside the spider's body, and to no apparent effect on the spider. And then all of a sudden it'll kill the spider and erupt out of the spider's body as a fly. Now, if that isn't terrifying, I don't actually know what is. And the fact that I'm surrounded by a cloud of flies, it feels like at the moment, is just making it all that much worse. Much worse than those lions we were walking into just now. Though there's just something about maggots living in my body and then erupting out of me when they're finished growing and living on my juices that just sort of gets me going. Much scarier than being eaten by those lions. Alrighty, we're off to James, who's gonna say goodbye for all of us.
Now, everyone, remember we have been doing our story of the tadpoles, and you can see the tadpole has become a frog. Isn't that amazing? It would be amazing if it wasn't a complete lie. This is not the same frog, I'm afraid. This is what the frog became. See? No, it didn't become that either. In fact, our tadpoles have performed rather like our caterpillars, disappointingly, to say the least. There they are, swimming around very happily still, but they are inescapably still tadpoles. So I'm going to release them at the end of today, and hope that they will then eventually become frogs of their own volition, perhaps in a natural pan, in a natural piece of water. And if you look carefully there, I don't know if you can see that, David. A bit misty, but there is a very small one there. And that's the size that they were when they started. So they have grown substantially in the last little while, but unfortunately they're not very big yet. And the frog that we got over here, and which I'm going to release shortly, is called a bushveld rain frog. He's a very tiny, tiny little fellow, well, you saw about the size of my fingernail, and he's now burrowed himself down into the soil. So I'm going to release him, because we're at the end of our series now. So I'll just let him go there. Off you go, young fellow. Marvellous. Now, everybody, you're going to watch something called A Wild Dog's Tale after this, an incredible story of a wild dog who kidnapped and looked after a whole lot of jackal pups. I know that he hunted with hyena and created a pack of 3 different species. It's an astounding tale, and I hope that you enjoy it. Here we have the 2 aeroplanes that we made. You can see David's. David's is hopeless. It's not going to fly. So we're going to try and fly mine. It's beautifully designed. Gorgeous. Here we go. Excellent. And we're off to the air. Right, everybody, thank you very much for joining us. If you have enjoyed these live safaris, which I hope you have, please join us at WildSafariLive.com every single day. At dawn and dusk, that's WildSafariLive.com. You can follow the lives of the characters that you've met, the Nkuhumas, those cats. And a big thank you to all of you for taking part in these safaris. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we hope to see you again very soon indeed. Bye-bye.